Hi and welcome to The Answers. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I have put a link in the description with the corresponding timecode, because in my previous video I challenged you to a set of pictures. Some of them were taken with the Panasonic Lumix 100 to 300 Mark II lens, and some of them have been taken with the more expensive 100 to 400 mm lens. Let's get started. The first picture, it was taken with the cheaper lens, the 300 mm, not too long after I purchased this lens, and it's a rare moment because you have this freedom sample here, this buzzard, that was just victorious of a battle against two crows. And this day was a rainy day, you know, the classical epic movie battleground where it rains, etc, etc, and there was this magnificent rainbow. It was just perfect, well, almost perfect, because you can see these wires here that are in the frame, but really I don't mind that too much considering the rarity of this moment right here. So first picture, cheaper lens. Second picture, much less impressive one, but still kind of a lucky shot. I took this with the more expensive 400 mm lens, and I was surveilling this bumblebee. I was tracking it with my camera, and it landed on this dandelion. And so I was preparing a nice shot of the bumblebee on the flower, but just as I pressed the shutter, the bumblebee flew off, wasting some of the precious pollen. What a shame. So yeah, more expensive lens. This one, very few to know people were mistaken. If I remember correctly, one person had it wrong. It was taken with the more expensive one. There is not much to say about this picture. It's a lotus, obviously. I took this picture in a local park. The background was very, very far away. It was about 20 to 30 meters away. But as I was pretty far from the lotus itself, the bokeh is kind of busy. It's not very, very smooth. The fourth picture, here, if I remember correctly, many people were mistaken by this one, because I took it with the cheaper 300 mm lens. It was, again, at a local park, a different one than the lotus picture. And what I found particularly interesting with this set here is that the black parts you can see here are actually one tree, which the trunk was split apart. So there was this very awful wound that split the tree, but the tree does not really care because its goal in life is to make fruits. And this fruit comes from the tree that has been split in half. And I found this set kind of poetic in a way, because the wound was very, very enormous, but so is the fruit. It was very big, and so yeah, there is some poesy in this. Fifth one. Here, many people were mistaken. It was taken with the cheaper 300 mm lens. Here, I found it very interesting because this lizard actually allowed me to prepare myself. Usually lizards are scared easily when you try to approach them. This one, while still looking at me to know if I was a potential danger, let me prepare my picture. So I had about a minute or so to take this picture, and a minute is plenty enough. The background was about 4 to 5 meters away, but it's a smooth background, so it helps with the bokeh. And I was at about 2 meters away, very close to minimum focus distance with the 100 to 300 Lumix lens. The fifth one here was taken with the more expensive 400 mm lens, and it was kind of a magical moment in the sense that I was passing by this dead tree but noticed the bird in an oak tree nearby. But I stopped to try and grab a picture of the bird in the oak tree, but the bokeh was very, very busy. The oak leaves are pretty ugly when you try to take a nice picture of a bird. So what the bird did was to come and land on this dead tree and danced from branch to branch, allowing me to grab many, many pictures for about 2 to 3 minutes, something like that. And once I thought I had the picture that I wanted, I took my camera down and immediately the bird flew off to get back exactly where it was in the oak tree. It was almost as if the bird wanted me to immortalize its prey. And you can see it looks proud. There is pride in this look. Look at that. Yeah, it was an amazing moment. Truly, truly magical moment. Then this one, I don't remember if people were mistaken with this one. It was taken with the more cheap lens, the 300mm. So I was at maximum focus, so I was at maximum zoom, but very, very close to the minimal focus distance. That's what allows to grab some details in the hair here. And there are some very nice reflections of the sun that was not really just above. It came from about this direction here, so it was perpendicular to the butterfly. And even in the eye, you can start to see some amount of detail here. I found this very, very interesting. The 8th one. No one was mistaken. It was obviously taken with the more expensive 400mm lens. But now I think about it, I think you can get at least very close to something like this with the cheaper lens. The very reason why this bokeh is so smooth is because I was extremely close to the bird. So we were walking around the lake with a friend, and we passed by this trash bin here, and I noticed this European robin in a tree, and as I was raising my camera, very much like the blue tit, it came here and landed on this trash bin here, proudly exhibiting its praise in the beak. So you can see there is an astonishing amount of details in the feather. Well, astonishing for me at least, because I'm not a great photographer for now. And you can actually see me and my friend in the eye. So this is me and this is my friend. It's not Miami the experts, but I'm still mind blown by this. I can see myself in the reflection of the eye of a very small bird. How amazing is that? And so, as I was very close, the depth of field is thinner than if I was far away, and so the somewhat already smooth ground looks like a blurry paste, basically. For this picture, I had about 3 to 5 seconds. It was really just zooming in, autofocus, click, 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 it's gone. It's, yeah, pretty much like that. Here, it was kind of a trap, because it was taken with the more expensive lens, the 400mm. The reason it is so blurry is not because it is out of focus. It is because the day was extremely hot, and I was staying very close to the ground in order to try and avoid being noticed. You can see some blurry thing here. It's a reed straw that I was hiding behind in order to not disturb this animal too much. And so, very hot day, there was a road between me and the animal, plus wheat. I mean, there has to be some heat haze going on here, and that's exactly it. The heat haze actually blurs everything. And even though I had a very expensive setup for this picture, well, the conditions were not there, and so I ended up with this blurry mess, this unexploitable mess. But I find this somewhat cool nonetheless. This one, it was taken during quarantine, as many of my other bird pictures, because I had this wire visible from my window. Many birds landed on it and waited, basically. So yes, it's a male chaffinch, and there are some amount of details, and I took it with the cheaper lens, the 300mm. Yeah, I must not forget to give the answer. I know I like to talk about my pictures, but I'm here to give the answers. There is some amount of details, but not that many, and that is because the bird was about 10 meters away from me, and at this distance it's hard to capture tiny details. And if you go full on pixel peeping, you can see there is not much details here. Your photo is garbage. Yeah. Obviously, you can always find a lack of detail if you zoom enough. Moving on. 11th picture. Here, some people were mistaken because this has been taken with the cheaper lens, the 300mm. And I was following this jumping spider, this cute little spider here. I find them cute. The bigger ones not so much, but these very little ones, very cute. And it stopped right here, as if it was trying to surveil this dead flower, trying to guess if it was a source of danger or food or something like that. So I had about 10 seconds to grab this picture, plenty of time. It was more than enough. And after that, it simply walked away and went on to its journey. This picture, the 12th one, I took it with the more expensive 400mm lens. I don't like it very much. At the time, I liked the composition, the back straws, as if it was foreshadowing the death of the twigs. I found it interesting. Now yeah, yeah, there are some details. Technically good. Yeah. This one. Some people were mistaken, and probably because I tried to do some artistic thing. I wanted to give somewhat painting feel to my pictures, and you can see even with the painting feel added, there is some amount of blurriness because it's not crystal sharp. But I took it with the more expensive 400mm lens. And yeah, there was this swallow that was landing, taking off, landing, etc, etc. And I ended up with this picture of the first wing flap, and I found it particularly interesting and quite beautiful, actually. So thank you, little bird, for this picture. And now the final one. It was a trap for you people, because I did not take this picture with my G9, and so no 300mm, no 400. I took it years ago with my old and trusty Panasonic Lumix FZ300. So it's a bridge camera, no interchangeable lens, 12 megapixel. It's obviously going to take bad pictures, right? Well, I'm particularly proud of this one. Not only because the quality is fairly decent, even though there is some front focus. You can see here the tree is in focus and the bird right behind it is slightly out of focus. If you zoom in, yeah, it's obvious. I was in this park in England, and I walked by this tree and noticed this bird in the tree. I loved how the tree made a very organic, non-perfect frame for the bird, but still had enough clearance for the whole bird to fit, and this twig following the lines of this wonderful jackdaw. I took the time to zoom in because on this bridge camera it's a motor zoom, so you lift a lever and it goes. It takes about 3 seconds to go to max zoom, and at the very moment I was ready to press the shutter, the jackdaw looked at me and gave me this wonderful eye, as if it was kind of judging me or something like that. I will let you imagine what you want with this picture, because I love this one. I just love it. But yeah, for this challenge, everyone was wrong, obviously, because I broke my own rules. And that goes to show that the end result is not just how much money you put in your camera and lenses, if you can change it. It's also a matter of how you can make a story with your pictures. So this has been taken with a camera that today can be bought for 300 euros or something like that on the used market, maybe even cheaper. I haven't checked for a while. Yeah, and also you can have very, very technically bad pictures with a very expensive setup. This picture, it's a complete mess. It's not exploitable. I cannot do anything with this apart from having a bragging right of saying I was somewhat close to a buzzard that ate a prey. Woohoo! But with a very, very cheap setup, one which I cannot even change the lens, I managed sometimes, not always, but sometimes, to get something that I think is awesome. You may not share my view on this, and that's perfectly fine, but I think this is awesome. Yeah, I just love it. I should print this. I should print my pictures. So, to wrap this up, I will give the whole, I will put a panel with the answers at the end of this video. But as a conclusion, taking good pictures is not just a matter of gear. It's also a matter of how you know how to use it, how much knowledge you have, how much time you spend behind your camera, because you do not have many opportunities if you only go once every 2 weekends. For example, it doesn't allow you to train different techniques and stuff like that. If you don't have much time to spend on photography, it is less likely, I'm not saying that you will never, but it is less likely that you will grab amazing pictures. So even if you spend $6,000 US on a great setup, if you don't put the hours in, if you don't try new things here and there, then chances are the pictures you will take will not increase in quality and in storytelling as much as your gear would allow you to. So thank you for watching. I'm looking forward to see what you have to say about this video and this challenge in the comments below. And oh yeah, also I sold the cheaper lens, so since my previous video, to actually, funny story, sorry for the last minute. I sold this lens to someone who actually looked at my previous video. There was like 50 views on my comparison video, but when you think about it, it makes sense, because someone who would be on the market for a Lumix 100 to 300mm would try to get information and watch videos about this lens, and my video was out not too long before he was looking for it, so yeah, it makes sense, but I think it's funny. If you watch this video, I hope this lens suits you well. I hope you are happy with this, because I certainly was. It is a good lens. It really is. And I don't think I have exploited it enough to showcase its power. Because even now, I'm still progressing. When I see the pictures some people can take with the 100 to 400mm lens, I can clearly see that I have very large room for improvement. So I don't think I was and still am able to showcase the full power of these lenses. I will let the pro do this. This is just my 2 cents about this matter. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. Please leave a comment if you feel like it. Like, subscribe, blah blah blah, etc., etc. Have a good one.